Good morning, everyone. I have with me today the Squid Industries Hydro, which is Squid's brand new live blade. First live blade they've made in a while. They definitely worked on these for a very long time. They're going to come in at a price point of around $390 for the first production. I know there's a pre-production drop with blemish models that will be a bit cheaper. But yeah, I'm just going to talk about it a little bit and let you know my thoughts. So here it is. It's got titanium handles, which are 6AL 4V titanium. It's got these really cool Ultim spacers, which are like semi-transparent, and it has built-in jimping on them, which feels pretty nice. It's definitely like rougher jimping than you would see on the Kraken or the Tsunami. You can feel it a lot more easily than you can on the other two. And then the blade, I believe they're choosing between two different steels right now, which would either be CPM 154 or 14 C28. I don't know much about that one, but CPM 154 is used in a lot of battle songs, and it's a great stainless steel. Yeah, you can see that really nice Tanto live blade. It's really cool to see, like, especially compared to like the Tanto Kraken. I think this one looks a lot better than the Tanto Kraken. It's like, it's got this really menacing grind to it, and definitely very pointy, so be careful about that. It also has these really cool cutouts near the spine, which kind of remind me of the Tachyon 2. But yeah, that is really cool. Overall, just like a very, very nice looking blade shape. Yeah, so there was a pre-production drop pretty recently, so some people should be getting these in pretty soon. I wasn't as impressed by these when I saw them online. I didn't think they looked that impressive. Like, the handles going along with the blade just looked a bit weird. I feel like the proportions didn't appear quite right, but having it in person, I think it's a very nice looking knife. And here, I'll do a sound test real quick. So yeah, it's got this really nice, like, quiet sound to it. Kind of feels like everything about this knife kind of feels in between the Kraken and the Tsunami, right? The price point is in between the two. I would say, like, how loud they are. The Kraken is definitely the loudest. This is probably the second. And the Tsunami is probably the quietest, but that also depends on how you have it tuned, because sometimes it can sound very glassy. So here it is next to a Tsunami. You can definitely see the handles are like significantly shorter, but the overall length is pretty much the same. If we close them, you can see like the closed length of the Hydro is a bit smaller. And I'm expecting the same thing for the Kraken, yeah. So the Kraken handles are significantly longer than the Hydro. And then if we open both of them up, Kraken is definitely a little bit longer. But yeah, so the handles of this are shorter than the other two. And you can kind of tell in hand, but it doesn't feel awkwardly small when compared to something like a 51, where like nowadays with the standard like length of 5.5-inch handles, something like the 51 feels super small, but that's not the case with this one. It's also a lot lighter than I expected. Like, it's probably a little bit heavier than the Tsunami. But just when I saw like the handle design, I always expect titanium knives like this to be a bit heavier, like something like the Alpha Beast. But it's actually very light and very easy to flip, so that surprised me. I'm trying to think what else to cover. I guess I can talk a little bit about the balance. It's definitely something that's going to require a little bit of getting used to, and it's not very similar, I don't think, to the Kraken or the Tsunami. I feel like the Kraken especially has a bit more handle bias, and the Tsunami can as well if you put the weights in the ends. But this one has this heavier Tanto tip, and the lighter Ultem spacers. I wouldn't call it blade heavy or blade bias though. There's still plenty of weight in the handles, but the weight in the handles is more evenly distributed than the weight in the blade. So it definitely like makes it very neutral and very quick, and if you are like going too fast on something like a Chaplin, it'll fall off your finger, whereas something a bit more handle biased may be able to stick to your finger during that. It also comes razor sharp. This knife is very sharp, and as I said before, very pointy. You can also see, like, there's a choil on the blade here, but the actual cutting edge doesn't start until like a 1/4 inch further away from that. I'm not sure if that's a pre-production thing, because this is a pre-production hydro, I believe. It's just not serialized. I'm not sure if that will be a normal thing in the grinding. When I first got this out of the box, the bite handle was a tad bit stiff, and I just had to oil it, and they're both fine now. They swing great. And the tune is amazing. Like, this thing does not budge at all. I mean, there's like handle flex, but there's no play. Like, there's no part where you can feel the handles moving back and forth and hitting the blade. And of course there's no tap. I could shake that as hard as I wanted to, and you would never hear any tap. It feels like rock solid. It's on Zen pins, these hidden Zen pins right here. And you can see like the tang is very, very small. Like if you compare it to the tang of the Tsunami and the Kraken, which are both small, I think it's still a bit smaller than both of them. And yeah, I haven't had really any problems with pinching or anything. I think they learned their lesson a lot when developing the versions of the Kraken. So this Zen nipple is pretty chamfer rounded off, and when doing rollovers, like, it's so small that you're never really gonna feel it, which is great. I can definitely tell that they put a lot of effort into like the comfort and how it feels in hand, as well as, you know, the general appearance and look and balance. But I think it definitely earns its spot as a great flipping titanium live blade at a price point directly in between the Kraken and Tsunami. So yeah, good job Squid Industries, good job Lucas. Can't wait to keep making content with this in the future.